Okay, hey guys, Keon here, and I wanted to do a release video for version 0.1 of the Mega Man Legends 2 save state viewer. So what I've done is I've basically just declared bankruptcy for trying to work with files on Mega Man Legends 2. I could start ranting, but they just made it, the devs made it as painful as possible to work with. Mega Man Legends 1, they left file names in the archive, which made them a lot easier to work with. In Mega Man Legends 2, all they have is the number for the file type. And the number for the file type isn't very consistent because you'll have a type of 1 which just represents a lot of different binary data. Sometimes it'll mean like character meshes, other times it'll mean like skeletons. It's just not very fun to work with. And then on top of that, they'll compress data occasionally. Like textures are compressed. I think they actually went and compressed levels because I think they had about 1.1 gigabytes of storage that they had to fit on a 700 megabyte disk. So it looks like they had to do some kind of compression or antics to compress things and put on the disk, and it just makes working with it very frustrating for the files on the PlayStation version. I mean. There's other options like the PC version and the PSP version. I was thinking PPSSPP, but the PSP version are also two possible options, but that's different kinds of tools to work with. And so I'm just going to use save states because it's basically just working with the uncompressed files. They're loaded into memory and everything just kind of links up and works. So I'm going to use save states again, but I'm going to try to make the experience for the save states better than I did in my previous tool, which I'll get into in a second. So here I am in PCSXR for Linux. For Windows, there doesn't seem to be a very good version of this that seems to run well. So what I did was I went ahead and looked into DuckStation. And the way they do save state compression is kind of weird. Rather than compressing the entire save state and just letting me decompress the whole file, it looks like the header on the save state is always the same. And then after that, the data is either compressed or not. And so I'd have to find out where that compression starts, seek to it, decompress it, cut it up and stuff like that. So if you're going to use DuckStation, open settings, go into general, and then unclick compress save states. And then the save state viewer should be able to view it. And if not, you can ping me on Twitter and send me the save state, and I can look at that hex and figure out why. Because as a side note, for DuckStation, the offsets where the memory and the VRAM are not consistent in all the save states. It looks like they either do compression or some kind of screenshot thing or something. There's some kind of variable thing going on where the offset in the file will not always be the same. So it should work, but not 100% guarantee. If it doesn't work, ping me on Twitter and I'll take a look at it. So the way the save state looks is here I am in the game where I want to look at the files, or not the files, but look at the models or whatever. So I'm literally just in the first hallway. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape, save state, and save it to slot 3, and then close. And then I already have other stuff here, but I'll go ahead and select the file. And I'm already in my PCXR save states. I'll go ahead and open up the saves that I just made. And then from there, you'll see that, map, that should be disabled. Oh, interesting. All right, but I've got entity player and map. These are placeholders that will hopefully come soon-ish. And so the idea is as you load in save states, I'll go into the state and find what the stage in the area is. So I just loaded in stage 0F, which is the tutorial, and then area 05, which is loading in what characters, what NPCs are in there. And so if I click, I should be able to get Hiroko. There we go. And Fingry was the guy in the hallway that we just looked at. The chest, Mimics, I can try the other ones. Here's Joe. Here is Roll with Jacket. And here is the Big Zenny. Or not the Big Zenny. Well, it's effectively Zenny, but the Big Refractor. So if we look at roll, I've made a couple of tools over here. So take screenshot will take a screenshot of what's in the view, and so it'll do a transparent background. So Zennis asked about this previously. If you're going to post it to the I can't remember what the site is, but if you want to create a screenshot for what the asset is and share it and have a transparent background, that makes it a lot easier. You can show hide the skeleton, and then you can show hide the grid, and that makes it easier to go ahead and view the model and take pictures if you need to. The grid just makes it a lot easier to figure out where you are, how far away from the model it is, and just gives it a sense of depth. One thing I did add was the ability to reset the camera. So this will just put it back to where it starts. It's not the best, but Mega Man Legends is kind of weird in some characters like Data will be really small. Other models like the Flutter will be pretty big. So I tried to keep it back to expand for the larger ones. And so like when you click on Data, it'll be like a tiny dot in the middle of the screen. And I don't know, you just kind of need to zoom in, zoom out as you need. If you move the camera, one thing that's kind of weird, if you move the camera and reset it, it'll still act kind of wonky because it doesn't completely recenter and refresh it. And so the look at it is still over there, but hey, I tried. It's version 2.1. I'm not going to worry about those kind of small details too much yet. So another thing I added was you can go down, you can have another quick list for, rather than having select over here, you can select what stages and areas you've done over here. And originally I was going to look through all the game's files and try to determine what stages and areas the game had based on the game's files, and then compare that up against what people dropped in. But what I found was I went through and made that list of what the game's file names are. It's like, oh, the game uses these file names. That must be the list of stages and areas that they use. But then like I went and loaded in a bunch of save states, and it didn't match up with the game's files at all. So I'm not sure if I'm just completely incompetent or if I'm just getting gaslighted by the developers from 20 years ago, but I don't know. Stranger things have happened. Next to this, so these three buttons, this is a checklist to just give you a quick overview of what the options are. It's basically the same thing as here, so I'm not sure which. This kind of looks ugly over here in terms of usage. I might have like the drop area here always visible and then give you the option to select over here, or I don't know. Open to opinions about UI to make things look nicer. This button next to here will go ahead and download the file in GLTF format. So I have it labeled as JSON. That is a bug. And then if you want to click over here, this will go ahead and take you to the GitHub project page where the project is available. So this will give you the source code and everything. And as I'm going through, this is the version 2.1, version 0.1 that I'm tagging as we go. And then other quick notice things are my YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon are linked down below. And so you can just get in touch with me or find me there. And yeah, that's about it for version 0.1. So the next thing I'm going to work on is character animations. So once you load a character in, we would expect chest to have like the chest open and chest close animation. So I need to add controls at the bottom, and then I need to have the open and close animations, which I've previously done in Parse. So I can probably go ahead and port that in from a previous tool, and then that will also give me a sanity check to see if these meshes are really rigged to the skeleton or not. So yeah. That's about it. So that'll be the next release of version 0.2. When I get around to it, hopefully April-ish, or maybe by the end of March, if I can port it and nothing too horrible goes wrong. And then from there, I think the next objective will be to look at the the player mesh and start getting Mega Man's arms, legs, limbs, body parsed from the previously labeled PBD files. But Mega Man Legends 2 doesn't have those file extensions anymore, so I've just been calling them the player mesh. And I think those will be similar to the character ones, but because they're just kind of chopped up and there's less context, it's kind of like, what am I looking at? So I need to get readjusted to that and just be careful and take my time and just kind of scum my way through it. So that's where I am for now. Version 0.1. More releases and updates coming in the future, and I'm taking notes and posting on Evernote and posting on Twitter as I go. So ping me questions, ping me feedback, and I guess I will see you guys later.